everybody's excited to do that. In terms of some of the technology things that Mr. Ritagliato was referring to at the high school and middle school level, we have a similar influx of technology, but we're handling it a little bit differently because of the different nature of the students and the courses. So really what you'll see at the secondary level is a lot of different devices that are coming in. We've purchased a lot of iPads, or I shouldn't just say iPads, we purchased a lot of tablets with multiple platforms. We've purchased Chromebooks for a lot of the, I think just about all of the high school English classes. Most of those classes will be paperless, so students will be using Chromebooks in class, typing papers at home, online, and submitting things through Google. Mr. Wren in the back can attest to that. We have, in the libraries, we also have devices that students are going to be able to sign out. So we have iPads and iPod Touches, which are a phone-sized device, if you're not familiar with them, that students will be able to sign out for 2 weeks at a time. If they don't have their own smartphone or device that they have access to at home or in school, they'll be able to go to the library and sign it out much the same way that you would sign out a book. So those will be in place as well. The background to all of that, to all of the technology, is that at the high schools, starting hopefully at the end of September, at the latest the beginning of October, we're going to implement what's called a bring your own device initiative. Bring your own device would imply that students can come in with a device, and that device would be enabled to access a guest network on Wi-Fi. So basically any student that's in High School East or High School West, after a few weeks of school, once we've had time to inform students about this and really educate them about the appropriate use of it, we'll activate that network, and then students will be able to access it during free periods, in the cafeterias, and during any classroom where their teacher is allowing it. So essentially the teacher will have the control over whether students can have devices out and active in their classroom. So we've spoken with English teachers who've said that there's absolutely days where they don't want students to have their device in front of them, and that will be fine. And then we've spoken with for example, we have some science teachers that have already been trying to get students to use their devices in class for a variety of different reasons. So we're excited for that as well. Like I said, that will be probably the end of September. We're hoping to roll that out so we have time to really make sure that students are using it appropriately. At the middle school level, we have been really in need over the last several years of a strong middle school robotics program. We have a great high school robotics program that's been very successful. And for several years now at the elementary level, we've had a really great Lego robotics program. At the middle school, we've been a little slow to adopt and just really trying to make sure that we have everything right before we roll it out. We're at that point, so we're going to have in each middle school, we're going to have really 2 similar but unique extracurricular activities for students. We're not sure what the interest level is going to be yet, so we don't know exactly what the format will be. It will probably be on a rotating basis. It won't be a club that a group of students will be a part of the whole year, because we anticipate that there'll be a lot of students that want to do it, and really to run a club like this, it's a lot of hands-on. So we have some constraints over for example, how many Lego kits and how many laptops we can get in students' hands at any one particular time with any one teacher. So for the first year at least, we're going to probably limit our numbers to maybe 15 or 16 students at a time, and maybe go through 10-week cycles or 8-week cycles and rotate as many kids through as we can. So the other big upgrade that we're doing at the secondary level is within the Planetarium. Since the late 1960s, we have had a star projector in the middle of the Planetarium. For those of you that don't know, Planetarium's at High School East. It sees essentially every elementary student at least once per year, and every student that's in earth science once, twice, maybe even 3 times per year. So there's a lot of traffic going through the Planetarium. We have 2 employees that run the Discovery Center and the Planetarium. They do a great job. But the equipment that they've been using has really seen better days, and it's gotten to a point where it's almost irreparable, meaning we can't get parts for it anymore. There's essentially one person that can do the repairs, and that person has a garage filled with old parts, and he's running out of parts. So it was time to really investigate and really invest in a new system. Obviously, we're in the digital age. All the new systems are digital, so instead of being an analog star projector, we're purchasing 2 really powerful computers and several projectors that will project on the 360-degree dome. We're anticipating having that up and running by mid-October. It should be installed in early October, and we're going to need some training time for the guys to make sure everything is seamless. But we're hoping that by middle or end of October, we'll have elementary students start funneling through again. So we're really excited about that. It's going to be a great addition to the district. Not just for astronomy, there's a lot of other things that you can do. Once you integrate computers into it, essentially anything that you can do on a computer can be projected in a dome, and it opens up possibilities for just about every science class, especially physical science classes, but really a lot more than that. And our two planetarium guys have a lot of interest in bringing other disciplines in as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Lastly, in terms of updates, I felt strongly that we just share some statistics with the board about our AP results this past year. So last year we had students take AP World History. If you remember, 2 years ago we started with a group of freshmen that in place of taking the traditional honors global, we looked at AP World History as a course and started to reformulate how we thought about world history and how we taught world history. And we brought some topics into 9th grade that would prepare them for AP World History as sophomores. Those students were wildly successful this past year. We had 98% of our students got 3, 4, or 5, which is essentially passing. The national average is below 50% for that particular course. We had no students receive a 1, which is, again, just remarkable for that group of students. And really telling us we have a very similar number of students that are taking it this year that did last year, smaller class sizes, so it's actually a higher percentage of students that are taking that class. So it is hard, but I think the word got out there that it's hard, but you can be successful in that. So that's really a class that was specific for sophomores, and those were students that, if it weren't for that class, they would be taking a non-AP class, and they've really found a lot of success with that. So we're really proud of that. Also new last year was AP Physics 1 and 2. AP Physics 1 and 2 are new courses, takes the place of AP Physics, what used to be AP Physics B. The College Board separated them into 2 easier courses and just 2 smaller courses that would be more accessible to students across the country. We felt really strongly that our students were prepared enough and strong enough to take both of those courses at the same time with a double period every day. Again, we saw similar success. We had 95% of our students get 3, 4, or 5. No 1s at all in that, compared to the national average, which is about 45% passing on those individual exams, let alone there's really not a lot to compare to for schools that did both in the same year or students that did both in the same year. So really remarkable for the students and the teachers that actually made it happen. And lastly, just a side note, this past year was the first year that we were over 50% of our graduates completing a calculus course before they went to college. So nationally, that's somewhere about 17 or 18% of students that graduate high school graduate with a calculus course under their belt. And we went over 50. We were about 54% last year. I mean, based on requests this year, we anticipate that going up even further. So that's a big indicator for preparedness, but also success in college. Typically, when students take calculus in high school, that's a really good indicator of who will be successful in college. So we're really proud of that as well. Just two last informational items. High school and middle school schedules will be released tomorrow on Infinite Campus at 4 p.m. There'll be an email that's going to go out about 3 p.m. tomorrow to notify everybody that they'll be available.
And then the whole system.
Yeah, we do. Whenever we do this, we do anticipate that at 4:01 the system's going to get really slow because there's literally thousands of people that are trying to access it at the same time, and those are our servers. So if it's not urgent, you might want to wait until 4:15 or 4:20, maybe 5 o'clock if you want to push it. But yeah, so those will all be available to students, and we have guidance counselors that will be in the rest of this week and next week. Appointment Plus is up, so you can schedule appointments if changes need to take place. And overall, we made some pretty drastic changes to the scheduling process this year, and so far things have gone really, really smoothly. So we appreciate everybody's support in that. And lastly, the graduation and the prom for June of 2016 for next year. Each year when we do graduation, Mrs. Fallon receives phone calls. I receive a tremendous number of phone calls, really inquiring why we do graduation on the same day, and we do them on Sunday, and people that have it Sunday afternoon can't have a party, and it's one of those questions that we know comes up every year. The high school principals get it every year, And we really haven't had a great answer for it. It's one of those things, it's been tradition, that's how we've done it, that's how we continue to do it. But we did do a survey this year. We surveyed we sent a survey to all, at the time it was current juniors, they're going to be seniors, or their families, to really find out what the interest was in exploring some different options and potentially making some changes for next year. We had some positive feedback from that survey, so as a result, and this will be, we're going to post this on the calendar tomorrow morning, so if you don't have pen and paper, the High School West prom for 2016 will be on Wednesday, June 22nd. And graduation will be on Thursday, June 23rd at 7 p.m. or at 6:30 p.m. Sorry, at night.
Graduation is at 6:30.
Graduation will be at 6:30 on Thursday for High School West. Yep. For High School East, the prom will be on Thursday, June 23rd, and graduation will be on Friday, June 24th, again at 6:30. So that's a shift as well. And we'll communicate that with students, you know, probably first day of school when we do our back-to-school assemblies, code of conduct assemblies, to make sure everybody's aware of that.
So is the purpose to change the graduation as a trial? Is that, is that?
Oh, it's not a trial. It's you know, we're going to move in that direction, similar to many school districts, you know, on Long Island. As Mr. O'Farrell said, we're asked every year that question. You know, why is graduation on Sunday? We would like the weekend with our family to celebrate. We also have heard from parents that they would like some school district support in moving away from traveling to the Hamptons for extended overnights after the prom. So collaboratively, you know, we ask for input from parents. We've met with constituent groups at the high school level with our high school principals, and that really was what brought us to bringing that information to the board.
And what's going to happen with the middle school graduations?
Go ahead.
So I was having a conversation earlier today with Mr. Strong and Mr. Green. So we'll make sure that the middle school moving up ceremony isn't the same night as one of those events. So we don't want West Hollow's middle school moving up ceremony to be the same night as the high school's prom or graduation. You know, understanding that parents might have students at both schools. So right now we're looking at different options for what nights we could do those middle school moving up ceremonies. There's some conflicts with some elementary events that we'll just have to work through.
But those have to be at East.
Those would have to be, so we know that the middle school moving up ceremonies, we are 99% sure that they will take place before the prom and graduation time. So essentially it'll have to happen either Monday or Tuesday night.
We'll make sure that there are, you know, that there are no conflicts with any other events taking place.
Can I just ask a quick question? Will the graduation rehearsals then be the same day as the prom?
It'll be the morning of.
The next.
Yeah.
Girls having issues.
We're going
I have appointments.
We'll get them out.
Right.
I have a son, so I don't care. But
And we've had that conversation, you know, with the principals, and you know, the goal on that day is everybody, you know, kind of do it as quickly as possible,
So the
get done what
rehearsal
you
will
need to
be
get
the
done,
day
but
of the prom.
it'll be early, yeah.
I have a daughter, and I can tell you, between
And
hair,
I know.
nails, makeup, it was a lot.
Shoot for a 6 a.m. start?
Yes. Yes. And I just wanted to offer just a couple of observations. One is a number of the items that you had discussed, kind of like the art changes and the new sequence of the computer programming, are things that we talked about during budget time. And those were things that we were excited to put back in the budget, and we felt really good about those. And it's great to see that, you know, we're executing on kind of the things that we said we would. And again, these are just providing more opportunities for our kids. They're doing the right things. So, you know, again, a lot of work went into it. It's greatly appreciated. But it's really, really nice to see that we're, you know, we come up with the plan, we approve the plan gets executed on, and then our kids get the benefits of that. So thank you. And selfishly, I'm really excited about the Planetarium. I can still remember going in the 60s when it was, what was it?
Yeah, it was,
Pete,
Pete Connors.
Pete Connors.
Connors,
yes, was the man who was there, and seeing that star projector, I was thinking, when I saw it in our notes, is that the kind of thing we can keep as an artifact and just say, this is what it used to be? Or are we gonna sell it to somebody else?
Yeah,
So they can use it for
we're
parts for somebody
anticipating that
else?
the guy that would normally do has historically done the repairs on it, we'll put a bid for it.
Yeah.
Unless it's the last one.
Unless it's the last one, yeah, which it might be.
Great stuff.
I think, Mr. Garrett, it's important to remember, a lot of what they're able to implement goes back to the board. The policies on bring your own device, the policies on staff bringing their own, because when remember you first brought that to me when we first looked at it, no one even had it, no one was doing it, no one was taking that first step as a board of coming up and bravely saying, let's have a policy for students and staff to bring their own devices, knowing that there may be some pitfalls there, but that this was an important change, and without that, this would have stopped at the gate, so that, the board's leadership on that was really helpful.
Thank you.
Are you saying there was no one from the board or anyone that brought forth a policy before this past year on this? I was trying to understand.
For a policy that allowed, bring your own device to school football for staff and students. When we first explored it with New York State school boards, there wasn't one, and many school districts went to our tech director to borrow our policy as we sought to implement that. And then school boards came with some things, we did some fine tuning, had some community input from some folks who did sort of cyber safety kind of as a professional. If you remember, we had an interesting conversation there, but that, that opened the gates to make it possible. So it was leadership.
And it's another example of us being on the cutting edge, kind of like this engineering and offering, the Myon offering and the books that we're doing, so it's just great to see that we are on that cutting edge, and that's great stuff.
Mr. O'Farrell, I'm going to just let you speak to great news that we received last year in terms of our high school being recognized.
I apologize, I left that off, yeah, it was, it was just announced the other day that both High School East and High School West made the list of the top high schools in America in Newsweek. So it's something that we take great pride in. It's very prestigious. I think there were 21 school districts, 21 high schools rather, on Long Island that achieved that honor. So we're very proud of that.
Great. Ms. Malone-Caliendo.
Thank you. I'm going to parlay on what Mr. O'Farrell and Mr. Taliata were mentioning. There were some improvements in terms of our facilities that we've assisted with. So just to give a summary of some of the items that are most visible, and then I'll go through some of the other non-instructional areas that I supervise and some of the accomplishments we've had there. So from a facilities perspective, we assisted in a number of different areas regarding use of our facilities. While we use the summer to do intensive cleaning, we struggle sometimes with use of facilities by outside groups because our facilities are widely used. So up through really this past week, we've had use of our facilities by a number of different outside organizations who are all based out of the Half Hollow Hills community. One new item that we've brought to the table, partnering with the Long Island, the Art League of Long Island, we actually brought their program here. It is within our community. We've brought them here, utilizing one of our buildings and generating a nice piece of revenue for the district with that collaboration with them. So that is now set forth for future years. At the High School West, we were able to complete the tennis courts. If you haven't seen them, you must. We are actually just doing our punch list now, so quite an accomplishment to be able to get that done when it was just approved in May. That took quite a lot of moving of some mountains. Also at High School West, we have the auditorium partition doors, which we know is a very different project, some structural changes we needed to have happen at the auditorium to assist in creating additional instructional space in that area. So we will be completing that project in October as we had initially planned. Again, a great accomplishment to at least get that moving and approved by the state, which is typically a significant delay. Planetarium, we've been assisting with that. We've been very happy to be part of that progression and removal of the existing equipment, changing out the space to be able to accept the new equipment that's coming in. So very pleased with that. Across the board, we've had a number of very difficult and challenging winters, so we've been working on roadway paving, patching, painting of the areas that we own. So that continues and always continues, but we had to do a lot more roadway patching and paving this year. We were able to get everything we wanted to accomplish, which was wonderful. The grounds, the grooming of courtyards, and the different areas, entrances, playgrounds that we maintain. It is a full-time job for our grounds crew to do that, and then everything else they accomplish. So we continue on with that to make sure that the grounds are maintained in an acceptable fashion. We worked at High School West on reconfiguring the math lab. We assisted also with the High School West initiative, the secondary initiative regarding the Bring Your Device to School, to create electrical and USB outlets at the South Cafeteria at High School West. There's also an initiative over at West Hollow, which we're very pleased to be unveiling in the new school year, renovating some spaces in the library as well as an area in the hallway that was the book room to assist in that whole collaborative effort. We've talked about it a lot during the budget season, but really talking about children working together, students working together, and utilizing our spaces a bit more creatively than we had in the past. Over at High School East, we expanded the weight room. We had a major project there to remove an abandoned refrigerator freezer that was not being used, so we reconfigured that space for the students to utilize. We also had some work at High School East to construct a partition wall in the student center so that students coming into the student center were separated and there was some privacy for the offices that are used there. I think that's for guidance counselors, psychologists. So we created some needed separation there. The work at the elementary level, we continue working with our Signal Hill building to create a transfer switch for our generator that we purchased this past year to ensure that that building in particular is up and running in the event we have some power loss. We test all of our fire alarms, all of our systems during the summer. That is a significant process because of the size and scale of our buildings, so we've completed that testing and servicing. We have server areas where we maintain all of our computer servers, which we've installed some ductless air units to address some of the cooling conditions that existed, so trying to get ahead of any issues that might exist. We've also had, across the board, district-wide projectors, CCTVs, card access, smart badges that we've installed, again, all for enhancing instruction as well as enhancing security in our buildings. We've had an intensive wiring project in support of our new telephone system and public address system that we're going to be installing this year, phasing in this year, so that wiring project is touching every single building. So we've been coordinating that as well. We've had the normal deep cleaning of furniture and fixtures and floors and painting walls where we can, but getting the spaces up and ready for the new school year. And then summer school.
Like this room?
We designed on a dime, we call it. We did internal work. Our own guys painted and did the carpentry on the walls. So that's kind of how we work it. We use our internal staff because we have amazing custodial grounds and maintenance folks who can do this work on their own. So regarding summer school, we assisted in the summer school program, getting things where they needed to go, equipment, instructional materials, air conditioning, and so on. So that's also an effort that we assist in throughout the summer. Regarding general business operations, not as sexy as those items, but incredibly important to get our work done as a district. Auditing, we've had a number of audits go on. We've had our external auditing process going on. We complete endless myriad of state reports, reconciliations. We make sure that our end-of-year budget transfers, some of which you'll see tonight, are going to happen so that all of our budget codes balance out. We have internal claims audits. We have internal audits. We have every kind of audit going on during the summer. We also completed, which you'll also see tonight, we received our final New York State Controller's audit report. So very pleased that the draft report did not get modified to the final report, but you'll be seeing an action item tonight to accept that report. We've already responded to that report last month, but that came to a successful completion as well. We work with our